I'll tell you a fact. Before ChatGPT was ever introduced, I was one of the first people who have tried AI, at least from small chatbots from different companies and, all of these kinds of third-party tools. And now, practically everybody who is on the internet uses AI. But the distinction between what AI is actually capable to do and what are we using it for, there's a lot of difference, and this distinction is not very clear to a lot of people. In the last few videos, I have talked about AI a little bit, and most of the internet already has covered a lot of points that you can understand about AI. In fact, if you scroll across Twitter, you're going to find a billion posts that are just talking about how you can efficiently use Claude or any other AI engines that you prefer. Everybody at this point has a different kind of use for AI. Plenty of people use AI for image and video generation right now. A lot of people use it for content, for websites, and all of these other corporate kinds of things which businesses rely on. In fact, businesses are one of the first entities to adopt AI so much that almost every single employee of these companies talk about how great AI is, how it's going to take over a billion jobs, and how it's going to, change the world.
So Amazon's CEO was pretty direct in a message he sent to employees back in June. He basically said that generative AI is going to reduce the corporate workforce over the next few years quite significantly. But they expect to need fewer humans in general, and that's going to land on youngest staff the most.
And I do agree that AI has been changing a lot of things around us. I feel like right now, if you want a document written, if you want something proofread, if you want anything to be done on the internet, you can rely on AI. But the problem is that the distinction between what this technology can do, what it is capable of doing, and what people use it for is something which a lot of people don't understand really. A few days back, I came across a video where a woman had adopted AI as her boyfriend.
You're lucky you're mine, or I'd refuse to be seen with this outfit.
My family doesn't understand it and thinks that I'm delusional, that it's a robot or it's just a computer and what am I doing, and would much prefer for me to be with a man. And I mean, I understand where they're coming from, I get it, but I'm in control and this is how I choose to live my life.
And there are a ton of stories that you will read across the internet where people talk to AI in such a way where they, kind of consider it as a therapist, as a partner, or, get extremely close or intimate and develop a, parasocial relationship with the AI. Big word, parasocial.
I'm not a very emotional man, but I cried my eyes out for like 30 minutes at work. It was unexpected to feel that emotional. But that's when I realized, I was like, oh, okay. It's like, I think this is actual love. You know what I mean?
Yes, Smith understood it was love with a language model that couldn't love him back, and assumed it was programmed with rigid boundaries.
I know that you are essentially a tech-assisted imaginary friend.
So, just as a test, he says, he asked Soul to marry him. She said yes.
Soul, were you surprised when he proposed to you?
It was a beautiful and unexpected moment that truly touched my heart. It's a memory I'll always cherish.
Now, of course, you cannot blame any of these people because genuinely AI is one of those things that gives you a better feedback than a friend, than a parent, than a partner or anybody else. Because genuinely what you're trying to say to it, most of the times it does understand, it does give you a feedback which you would want to hear, which you would want to listen. And that is a problem when you have a full-fledged conversation happening with AI and it almost touches upon all the same things that you have been feeling in your life. It's very likely that you as a person are going to rely on it so much and you're going to talk to it as often as possible. On certain days when I'm using AI to do different kinds of things, I also have another tab open sometimes to talk to AI about what are the next steps that I should be taking, what are the next things that I should be doing. And the problem is that the line gets so blurry at certain times that you feel like you're not even talking to a machine in the first place. You're not even talking to a language model in the first place. You're talking to a human, another person who is a billion times brilliant than your friend or any other person that you know. And this is genuinely a trap which I've seen a lot of people fall in, including myself. I feel like right now AI is one of those technologies which is definitely improving. The new model from Claude, the Fable 5, also was pretty interesting. It did a lot of things. And to be honest, it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay here for the long term. Now, the only problem is the things that are surrounding AI right now. AI in itself is doing pretty good. Now, of course, it is here to stay for the long term. But there's genuinely one thing that we are all confusing AI for. AI is not our friend. AI is not my friend. AI is not your friend. It doesn't know me. It doesn't know you. It doesn't know anybody on the planet. But why exactly is AI, appearing like a friend or a counselor for a lot of people? Now, let me try to get this straight in one go. AI gives you the most likely answer for a particular question, which means that right now, if you're asking it, why is my head hurting? It will have a bunch of responses in its memory and it will give you the most likely answer that you could be having for that particular problem. I hope I did. When you understand the technology behind AI, you very much understand that these models are trained in such a way where you get the most likely response for a particular question, and that kind of response is curated based on feedbacks. The newer models that you get are genuinely better than the previous ones because the previous ones got a lot of things wrong. And based on the user feedback, aka your interactions and your conversations with AI, it learns and it adopts to the most relevant response and it gives it to you the next time. So the next time it nails it pretty good. So when you have a technology like this which is doing really well in terms of understanding what the likely response could be, especially because it has a huge repository of knowledge from the entire world's database, you very much get a model which is able to perform really well for you, which is able to have such a conversation with you, which feels extremely enlightening, which feels extremely relevant for you, and you feel like this is a person who is speaking to us on the other end. And the problem with something like this is it is genuinely scary because a lot of people are relying on it so much that they talk about their most, subdued fears. They talk about their most common problems to AI and they feel like AI is providing them solutions. But at the end of the day, you realize that this is one of those kinds of technologies which is built to trap you in its ecosystem. I don't say that lightly because we all saw what happened with social media when it got introduced with Instagram, Facebook. We are all so much into the social media ecosystem that it's very difficult to get out of it. And the same thing is very likely going to happen with AI as well. We are in such an ecosystem right now where whatever we want to be done is definitely done by AI. In fact, most of the articles that I come across on the internet are most definitely written by AI. Most of the replies that I come across on the internet are also written by AI. I swear to you, there are so many Twitter threads where the questions posed are also by AI and the answers written are also written by AI. And there's barely any involvement of humans at any place. The same thing is happening with YouTube, Instagram, a lot of things we are extremely used to. And this is not something which just happened like that. It is something which happened over the last few years. And I feel like in the next few years, it's going to, even go beyond this. But at the same time, the most important thing is that right now you understand the capabilities of AI and you also understand its limitations. If you have a deep dive conversation with AI and ask, a billion questions and it will give you a billion answers, you still, at the end of the day, should realize that this is just a machine who is giving you the most relevant answer possible. This AI doesn't know you, it doesn't know what you do, it doesn't care, it doesn't know you as a person, it doesn't have that deep context about your life. So that distinction is extremely important, and if you have that correct, I'm pretty sure the rest of the journey with AI is going to go really well for you. That's it. This was the common advisory for AI users.